everyone, and happy Friday. I would also like to wish everybody a happy early Juneteenth, which is tomorrow. I know a lot of you may be observing Juneteenth today, so an extra huge thank you for joining us this afternoon for what I know is going to be an amazing conversation. So, quick intros. On behalf of the Hello Alice team, I am super excited to be here with you today. My name is Jillian Fortin, and I am a product manager at Hello Alice. You may recognize my face from the announcements in the Hello Alice platform. And I will pass the mic over to my colleague Danielle to introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Danielle Teleria. I'm coming from Miami. I'm in Miami right now, and I work with Jillian. I'm on the marketing team with Hello Alice, and I work with all engagement projects and social media. So very happy to be here with you all today. Thank you.
Awesome. So before we dive in and introduce our guest of honor, here is the part where I invite all of you to introduce yourselves. So down below in the Zoom toolbar, you will see the chat bubble. So that is where I want you to click. And then I want you to make sure the blue drop down says panelists and attendees. Otherwise, you're going to be sending a lot of messages just to me, Danielle, and Petia. And then the last bit of this process is I want you to tell us a little bit about your business, tell us where you're joining us from, and tell us what you are excited about learning today. So I'm going to give you guys a few moments to do that, to find your chat window, to find the courage inside and tell us about yourself. Because at the end of the day, this conversation is for y'all and how we can support you and provide you with the information you need to launch, grow, fund, and manage your business. So while y'all do that, I am going to introduce our esteemed guest of honor. Super excited because this is one of my favorite topics, and also because the Grow with Google team has been amazing during this sprint. And today we are learning about how search and Google Trends works. Who better to learn from than Petia Abdur-Razzaaq, who is here to teach us how your business can be found online with Google. She's going to explain how Google search works. Contrary to popular belief, it's not magic, although sometimes it feels like it. And she's going to give you tips on how you can improve your website's visibility. Petia loves small businesses. She loves compelling small business stories even more. So that's why we want to hear yours in the chat. And she is a speaker for the Grow with Google Professional Trainer Program. So we brought the experts to you today. For the past 10 plus years as the principal of the Stylista group, I love that, Petia and her team have developed and implemented digital marketing plans that have produced outstanding measurable results. The firm has a niche focus that helps legacy, lifestyle, and luxury brands to connect with present-day customers by harnessing the power of their brand stories and collaborating with micro-influencers. All the hot topics you need to know today. So now that I have introduced Petia, I am super excited to introduce Betsy, who's going to tell you a little bit about the Grow with Google program. So y'all can know why we were so excited to partner with them on this particular Reach Customers Online Sprint. Betsy, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you so much for having us. We're super excited to be here today. I just really appreciate an opportunity to connect. Grow with Google helps ensure that the opportunities created by technology are available to everyone. And we're offering these trainings and tools to help people get the skills they need to get jobs, advance their careers, or grow their businesses. And we've launched this program in 2017. We've already trained more than 5 million Americans on digital skills, how to use Google software, and so much more. And we have a network of great partners like Hello Alice that help us really connect all of our great training and curriculum around these tools with people who can use them and can thrive, and their businesses can grow. They can get a new job, they can grow in their skills. So we also share our content with libraries and schools and a lot of nonprofits. So thanks for having us. We're super excited to be here. And I'll be helping answer any of the questions in the chat. But Petia is our rock star, and we're excited to have you take the lead.
Awesome. So we're going to start off with a presentation from Petia, and we're going to turn our cameras off so you can focus completely on the presentation, but we are collecting your questions as well. So if you have a question, please put it in the Q&A window down below. I'll be watching the chat, but the Q&A window is the best way to make sure you get face-to-face screen time with Petia. We will be inviting you all to the stage as well to tell her a little bit about your business and how she can help you. So all of that to say, we're really excited to start with a presentation and have those questions ready. We'll be collecting them, all right? So Petia, the mic is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your warm introduction. And let me just make sure that you guys can see my screen. So can you confirm, can you see my screen?
We can see
it. It's great.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so I was asked to share a little bit about myself, things that you guys may not know about me from Googling me, which I think a lot of you did because I got some really great LinkedIn connections from people who said, hey, I'm participating in the sprint, would love to connect with you. So I'm gonna share some things that you may not have found by Googling me, no pun intended, right? So I'm Guyanese by birth, and I migrated to the United States when I was 15 years old with my family. And today I'm presenting to you from my home in Harlem. I'm the mother of two amazing daughters, aged 27 and 6. And though I didn't choose to be a teacher by profession, I come from a long line of teachers. And it seems that it's just part of my nature to be teaching. So I really love this role that I have with Grow with Google because it allows me to teach and to help small business owners to move the needle in their businesses. So just a little bit more insight on who I really am. Okay, so moving on to today's presentation, we're going to learn together how customers find your business online and what happens when a potential customer searches for a business like yours. Here's our agenda. I'll start by showing you how Google search works and 3 ways that your information can appear on the search results pages via search engine optimization, a business profile, and online advertising. And for those of you who attended last week's presentation and went through the sprint, the business profile section will be a refresher, a nice little refresher for you. So let's start off by reviewing how Google search works so that you can get a clear or clearer understanding of how your website can show up in search results. So let's imagine for a second a library with billions and billions of books, right? And this library is growing by the second, if you can imagine it. However, there's no card catalog to help you to find anything. And depending on your age, you may have no idea what a card catalog is, right? So those of us who know, we're dating ourselves. And the thing is, you're not just searching for a book, you need specific information inside the book's pages. So that's pretty much what the web is like, if you can imagine that. And when you think of it that way, then finding what you need seems to be really impossible, doesn't it? Well, the great news, however, is that search engines like Google do most of the heavy lifting for us. And so it's our responsibility then as small business owners to make sure that we're setting ourselves up for success. So as you all know, because we all do Google searches ourselves, when you perform a search on Google, you start off by typing a word or a phrase or sometimes a question into the Google search bar, and this is referred to as a search query. Now, Google helps people find information on the web by sorting through those billions of web pages and showing people where to find the answers they're looking for. So those specific answers. So basically, search is a big piece of software that takes the query you type into the box, the search box, and looks for the best answers across the web. So this illustration that we're looking at together, and if you guys are wondering why I'm looking this way, it's because the screen I'm sharing is kind of like to the right of me. So this illustration that we're looking at represents an example of a Google search results page, and we should all be familiar with this page, right? Now, it's important to note that the content and layout of this search results page usually varies depending on a few things, right? So depending on the search, and of course, if you're using a mobile device, it will definitely look different. Today's mini workshop focuses on 3 typical ways your business can appear in the results, and we can see it highlighted here. So it would be the organic results, if you have a business profile, and if you are running Google Ads. So now that you have a general understanding about how massive the web is, first of all, and how Google works to index all of the amazing information that's on the web, we can move on to talking about how to get your business to show up when people search for what you offer. And that doesn't matter if it's products, services, if you have a nonprofit. These best practices are applicable to anyone who needs to be found online. So Google does consider many factors when cataloging and ranking pages. That means that the opportunity for you here is that you have more than one way that you can help your business to appear in search results, and over time to move up in the results ranking. So some of those factors may be things like the relevance and freshness of your content, the location of the search, language, very important, and also the device that's being used in the search. So the first way that your business might show up is to appear in what we call the organic or natural results. And this is what's seen in the center well of the page. Now, Google builds these pages of results for every single search, right? So think about how many searches are going on right now. Google does this for every single search to deliver the most relevant results for that particular searcher, that particular individual. So for example, the search results might look different for people searching from Canada or people in Nashville, Tennessee. And also, if I did a search in Harlem, New York, the results will be different for me as well, because they need to be relevant to my location and exactly what I'm looking for. So moving on, now you can see how the website for Trade Street Jam can appear in Google's organic results. Now, how did Google decide what websites to show and in what order? As you can imagine, there are more than 200 signals that Google considers to determine which web pages should appear for which searches. Now, because some people get a little confused with this, organic search results are different from paid search advertising. So how high your site ranks in organic search is truly a matter of your site being the most useful answer to the query that's made in that Google search bar. Now, while you can't just buy a better organic search result, you can put effort into optimizing your website to improve its visibility on Google and other search engines, of course. And this is what's called search engine optimization. And you guys may be familiar with the term SEO. And the paid version of that, which people tend to confuse, would be SEM, search engine marketing. And that's when you begin to run ads. Now, I know this seems like a lot of technicalities, right? And many people who are just getting started with SEO have the tendency to think that it's overly complicated or that you have to have a background in tech to be able to do this. And there are some technical aspects. So I'll be honest with you, but there are plenty of non-technical things that you can do to help your page to show up in search. And we'll review a couple of them. First and foremost, focus on your content. And here are some tips. Regularly publish content. It should be original, right? So not going and looking on other people's websites and copying and pasting what they say. That's their content. And it should also be useful and accurate. And while there's no rule of thumb, the more frequently you update your website, the more likely it will be to appear in search engine results over time. And you guys will hear me say over time because it is true. Even if you're just launching your website and you did an amazing job of your SEO, you really shouldn't expect to show up on the first page of Google right away. It does take some time. So I just want to do some expectation setting here. And when you're writing content, include keywords that potential customers would be using to find products and services like yours. Be sure to organize your website logically into clearly labeled areas. And think about your customer's journey, right? So the way that your website should be organized is that it should be really easy for them to follow the desired path, or the path that you want them to follow, right? So that they can actually convert. This also helps Google to understand the content of your website better. Every page, very important, every page should include a title and description as part of the code. The good news is that many of the content management systems that we now use, such as WordPress or Wix or Shopify, offer this option built into the platform. So you really don't have to worry about writing code per se, as we had to do before these services were available to us. And in writing these titles and descriptions, you should definitely make the effort to have them be as descriptive, specific, and accurate as possible. Now, you may be saying to yourself, oh my goodness, so I have to come up with relevant, accurate content. How do I do this? And guess what? I have a free tool that can help you. Enter Google Trends. So Google Trends can help you research content strategies and refine your marketing messages for your website. When you use trends, you're able to see the relative popularity of different keywords searched on Google over time. And you can sort to see within the last 12 months, within the last 3 months, or maybe within the last 30 days, if that is most important to you. The data is presented in a graph on a scale of 1 to 100, with 100 representing the peak search volume. If it has enough data, Trends can show a forecast of search volume related to popular searches, as well as rising searches. And your rising searches would be those search terms or keywords that are experiencing significant growth for whatever reason. So you can use the tool to compare the popularity of different words and phrases, determine seasonality of different searches, and see where these searches are happening geographically. And it also shows you the popularity of related searches. So the example we're looking at is of a real business called Tea Drops, right? And so what they're comparing is the usage of the terms bubble tea and bubba, okay? So when researching how people in the US search for bubble tea, they learned that on the West Coast, more people search for the, I've never heard of this, of course. And on the East Coast, more people search for bubble tea, because I would search for bubble tea, right? And that information can be incredibly useful when developing a content strategy for your website, as well as your advertising, as you kind of like get more comfortable and decide that you want to start spending money to present your products and services directly in front of your target audience. For more insights like this, please feel free to visit g.co/trends, play with the tool. It is an amazing tool. A couple of you had questions during the week in the collaboration community, which I loved answering, and hopefully my answers were helpful to you. So that was the non-technical stuff. Let's go over a few more technical things that can affect SEO. First, make sure your website loads quickly, especially for people viewing your site on mobile devices. And when I say quickly, I mean within 3 seconds, which gets a lot of people nervous, right? A slow site will encourage visitors to navigate away from it, and then you lose the potential of building a relationship with that searcher and possibly gaining a new customer. It also affects your search rankings, of course. And secondly, be sure that your website is easy to use and read, no matter how visitors access it. So the good news is that many websites today are built with responsive design. Many of the templates that come with the platforms I mentioned, like Wix and WordPress and Shopify, they already have templates that respond and adapt to the type of device being used, whether it be a desktop or a mobile device or a tablet. There are also two Google resources that can help you with these. They're Google's Test My Site tool and Google Search Console. So let's take a look at the Test My Site tool first. So you can check the speed of your website by trying Test My Site, and you can access Test My Site by going to g.co/testmysite. And the test score measures mobile speed. So this is for mobile speed. And it pretty much tells you how long it takes for your site to load on a phone. Now, keep in mind that it's not just the strength of the web connection that determines the mobile speed, but also the elements that are contained within the web pages. And when I say elements, I'm talking about things like your videos, if you have them, the size of your pictures. You know, great pictures are beautiful, but they can also slow down the load time of your site. So you need to be careful about that. So after evaluating your site, the test generates a report with a list of specific suggestions that can help you to better optimize your site. So the screenshot that we're viewing together shows the Test My Site tool on a mobile device, and it says your mobile speed is 2.3 seconds in the United States on a 4G connection, right? So that's actually pretty good because it's within the 3-second time frame. Next up, welcome to Google Search Console. So this tool used to be called Google Webmaster Tools. So if you have been using Google Tools for a while and you're a little confused, it's the same thing. And Search Console is important for search engine optimization because it helps you to measure your site's served traffic and performance, notify you of and help you to fix issues that in turn improve your Google search results. Now, Search Console is typically used by SEO specialists or marketers, not necessarily by the business owner, but just having the high level knowledge of why they would be using it, I think is helpful for business owners to know, right? And so marketers use Search Console to monitor website traffic, optimize your website's rank in Google search results, and make informed decisions about the appearance of your website in the results. Now, the information from these reports can be used to influence technical decisions for the website and to do sophisticated marketing analysis that can work in conjunction with tools like analytics, Google Trends, and Google Advertising. So this is definitely a tool that marketers love, right? So even if you don't handle something as technical as this for your website, I do think that it's helpful for you to be aware that it does exist, and maybe you can have an informed conversation with your SEO consultant about what is actually happening. And if you want to check out Search Console, you can do so by going to g.co/search console. Okay, so we are literally in the middle of our mini presentation. And Jillian, I just wanted to take a mini break here to see if anyone has any questions about anything that I've covered thus far.
Not just quite, but we do have a question from Kimberly about Google Business Profile. So I think it would be awesome for us to bring her on stage once you've gone through this section.
Okay, great. So let me go through the section. And sometimes when I go through the section, it answers the question. So let's see if she still has the question. Great plan, Jillian. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So now let's move on and take a look at the second way your business can show up in the search results by creating or claiming your free business profile on Google Search and Maps. And again, if you participated in last week's sprint with Stasia, then this will be a really nice refresher for you. Maybe you can go back and make sure that you did things the way that you should have done them. So when we did the last search in the last section, we were concentrating on organic search, right? Because that's the first point that I was going to focus on. So now let's talk about what you may see on the right side of the search results page. And this is what's highlighted here in the mock-up. It's a business profile. So usually if a business has a profile, and many times the business owner themselves have not created this profile, and if this is the case for you, then you need to claim that profile. It's very important that you do so, because this allows you to make sure that all of your information is up to date and accurate. And Stasia reviewed that in depth last week. And if you missed it, there's an amazing video that's on the Hello Alice platform that you can take as your own sort of course on how to do this. So you would create a business profile by visiting google.com/business. Why is this important? A business profile helps local businesses be found, as well as manage information on Google search and maps. So business profile is sort of the digital front window for your business, because what it does is it allows you to showcase valuable current information that will help customers to plan their visit to your location if you have a physical location, such as hours of service. And as we know, last year was very tough for that sort of thing. And so this was an amazing way to keep your customers up to date with things that like change in hours, or maybe marking your business temporarily closed, or whatever you had to do. So once you create and claim your business profile, and this is called verification, you can manage your information as it appears across Google search and maps. Now within the management dashboard, you can do things like update your address, phone number, website, of course, your hours of operation, and respond to reviews, both good and bad. Some people like to, delete the bad reviews, but remember, this is your opportunity. First of all, as small business owners, we know we try really hard, or just business owners in general, but it's really difficult to please everyone all of the time, right? Use this as a learning opportunity if you do get a bad review. And also remember that your response to the review is part of your branding and part of your customer service. So the equivalent of ignoring a bad review would be if you actually physically called a business or stepped into the business to let them know that you weren't so happy about something, and they like shoved you out of the door, slammed the door in your face, or hung up the phone because they didn't want to deal with you, right? So think of it that way. You should respond to all of them. And most importantly, it helps your potential as well as existing customers to connect with your business online. Now, in case you didn't attend last week, a business profile can only be created for businesses that either have a physical location that customers can visit, or if you don't have a physical location, you should be interacting with your customers in person within a specific geographical area. So the general rule, the easy way to remember this, is that a business must make in-person contact with customers, or have the ability to make in-person contact with their customers during its stated hours. All right, moving on. So far, this really short time, we've covered SEO and your business profile. Now we'll move on to talk about the third way you can reach customers on Google, and that would be with online advertising. Okay, starting with smart campaigns. So a smart campaign is a campaign designed for small businesses and new advertisers. So people just like us, right? Smart campaigns are flexible because you're allowed to choose your goal and customize your content and work within the limitations of your own budget. There are no contracts or fees to get started, and you have complete control over the budget that you want to spend, as well as how you want your ads to show. Your ads can do whatever you want them to do. They can drive traffic to your website, they can drive phone calls, as well as actual on-location visits. Smart campaigns are really simple to set up, and they really only take a few steps. And to get started with Google Ads, you can simply visit ads.google.com and begin by signing into your Google Ads account. or you can create an account the same way if you don't have one that exists. Okay? Now here's a useful little checklist that can help you to launch a successful campaign. And if you guys want more in-depth information, I'm just kind of like doing an intro to next week's sprint. Please do continue sprinting with us next week, because my colleague Maria is actually going to be doing a presentation on how to do Google Ads. So, nifty little checklist in case you're already in this world. The first thing you need to do is decide what your goal for your particular ad campaign is going to be. So you might have multiple goals, right? Very common. So conceptually, you could have multiple campaigns. The question to ask yourself is, why am I advertising? What business goal do I want to achieve from this campaign? That's the first thing you have to think about when you set up these campaigns. The second thing would be, of course, to add information about your business, key information, so that customers can recognize you when they see the ad, or if they don't really know you, they can be enticed to learn about who you really are. Next, you need to identify where you want a visitor to land on your site after they've clicked on your ad. Here's a pro tip. If you are running an ad for your new summer collection of dresses, right? And you set your ad campaign up, never set the destination to be your homepage, right? Because typically on the homepage, people have to follow prompts and click on things. You would want to send the viewer of that ad straight to your summer collection page. Or if you're promoting a specific dress, right, style of dress, then just send them to the page that highlights that particular dress, okay? Because the last thing that you want to do is to have to pay for a click that didn't have a really good chance of converting, okay? Remember to write an ad that encourages people to take action. Choose keywords and themes and locations where you want your ad to appear, okay? And just as a refresher, keyword themes are words or phrases that help to match your ad, with Google searches, okay? So you have to be aware of exactly what's going on within the ecosystem for your category of business, how people are searching. And that's why having access to Google Trends makes sense. And then the next, of course, would be to set your daily budget. Remember that you will only pay when someone interacts with your ad. So there's a lot of learning that has to go on initially before you actually are able to get the return in your investment, but at least you're not paying for activity that doesn't actually result in clicks. Okay, so usually I would walk you through a SMART campaign, but I'll leave that to Maria. And so we're on the last lap of this mini presentation. I'd just like to do a quick recap, share some additional resources, and then we'll dive right into the Q&A. But before I do that, the question about the business profile, was that question answered, or would the individual like to come on stage? Kimberly, hello, Kimberly. Kimberly, you're on mute, I believe.
Hello, yes. Thank you so much for taking my question, Jillian. And hi, Petia? Petia, okay.
There you go.
So the first question was asked about was answered about having a home-based office. I think I have figured that out. But the second part is when I am classifying the type of company that I have, like there are no options for like corporate social responsibility or sustainability or environmental related fields. And through research, it shows that those areas are becoming more and more popular. And the only option was environmental consultant.
Right. So initially, when you're setting up your profile, you do have to choose the best possible category for your business. Like you aren't allowed to add, like I'm sure you wish you could add the categories that you think fit better. But as you go through building the profile, sometimes it allows you, depending on the kind of business, to add classification that's a little closer, right? And
Mhm.
so the way that you get around that, however, if you still can't find a classification that's
Mhm.
close enough for you, is
Mhm.
if you use Google Trends and you do find out that people are using those keywords or search terms that you think are the best classification for your business. So you have to write your content, write the description of the business profile and any posts that you may make, incorporating those key terms that are better fits, so that when they go into the Google query bar and they type those terms, you have a great chance of showing up organically. And you also want to make sure that those terms are incorporated into your actual website as well.
Okay. So you don't think that Google will, how often do they update those categories with different positions
I am
or
actually
categories?
categories. I am actually not so sure. I mean, if you feel strongly enough about them, maybe you can send a nifty note to customer support and tell them that this is something that really should be happening. I'm not really sure how often they make this update, but of course, you know, the whole point of having the search engine exist and the business profiles and all of these things is to help businesses to surface in search results. So if there's enough data, I'm sure that that kind of category should be created. I'm sure that they will do it at some point.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome, Kimberly. Thank you for coming on stage.
Thanks so much.
Okay, so last leg of the presentation before we actually open the floor to open this discussion. So believe it or not, it's time to recap. We have covered quite a lot in today's mini workshop. And so what I'll do is move on and share a few additional resources with you. This is what we reviewed first though. We looked at 3 ways you can appear on Google in the organic results, with a business profile, and Google Ads. And so the illustration we're looking at that we went through highlights exactly where those opportunities exist on the Google search results pages. So anything at the top usually is classified as an ad. You can tell sometimes they're shopping ads. Organic results, this is where the strength of your SEO helps you. And then of course, the business profile. But what are your next steps, right? First, try really hard to build or improve your website to make it search and mobile friendly. Take a look at the tools that we mentioned in today's workshop. That would be Google Trends, Test My Site, and of course, Search Console. And next would be to create or claim your free business profile, of course, if your category of business allows you to do so. And when you're ready, of course, try Google Ads. And remember that over time with Google Ads, it's a learning process, but over time you can fine tune your offers when people are searching for your products and services. And I would highly recommend again that you attend next week's sprint, because that sprint will focus more closely on Google Ads. Okay, so to recap, Grow with Google is an initiative to help people prepare for work, find jobs, and grow their businesses. The great thing about it is that the content and the training are actually broken down and categorized based on the potential users. So there's great information for job seekers, teachers, small business owners, startups, and even developers. So if you guys have not been aware of all the wealth of resources that are available, please do check them out at google.com/grow. So that is the official end of my mini presentation for today. And I'm excited to move on and get started with the Q&A session. Let me just stop sharing my screen. All right, here we are.
Here we are, and I hope you're ready because we have a lot of really great questions. We've seen in both the Q&A window and in the chat. So I just want to remind everyone that we are here for you all. Okay, no question is off the table as it pertains to how Google search works or how to use Google Trends for your business. We not only have one Google expert here today with Petia, but we also have Betsy here to answer questions as well. And so what we're going to do is we collected some questions from Gladys, from Tracy, from Stephen, from Sonia, from Colleen, from Yolanda, and we'll bring you up on stage to tell us a little bit about what you're trying to achieve, as well as how Petia and Betsy can help you. So first, I'm going to bring up Gladys to ask her question. So Gladys, give me 3, 2, 1, and you are off to the stage. Gladys.
Hello, Gladys.
Hi, good evening, Jillian. Do I have to use my video or can I just speak?
Whatever you feel comfortable with.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so I was asking for the difference between SEM and SEO.
Right. Okay. Great question. I love that one. So SEO is what you cannot pay any search engine for. SEO pretty much relies on the strength and the quality of the content within your web pages. So doing things like having images that are properly described, that are properly optimized for the web, by using the trending keywords within your, your category of business, and making sure that your website is properly organized with original, fresh content. It's kind of like the long haul. It takes a while before all of this starts working. You have the right backlinks. You have links to your social media. Your content is really engaging. You're answering the questions of your target audience. That's SEO. SEM is when you start to do advertising, right? So this is when you're actually paying for your ads to be placed in front of your ideal target audience. So that's the difference between the two.
All right, thank you very much, Petia. Thank you very much.
Very welcome.
Awesome.
And can I add to that just for a bit? Because you guys, this is online marketing is huge, and online marketing is about search engine optimization and search engine marketing. And I'm going to say Petia's words almost exactly, but SEO stands for search engine optimization. So those are the technical things you can do to improve the way that the Google bot reads your website. So that means there's tags, there's structures, there's making sure your headlines, your website headlines and subheads read the right way. It's about using keywords because you've done your Google Trends and you know what the keywords are that people are searching. So you're trying to make the content on your website, you're going to reverse engineer it, you're going to try to make the content super receptive and capture most of the people searching for things, for products and services you provide. So there's a lot there. And sometimes people can get intimidated, but there are things you can do as a business owner without advanced degrees or knowledges and all those great tools. If it's too much for you, there are a lot of folks who can help you out. Plus, there's a lot of great classes like this where you can go and learn about it. And even if you choose to get someone to help you out with your SEO, I strongly recommend you pay attention to the details and you figure it out yourself, because there's things that you as the business owner know are a priority, what your top products are, what your value is, all those things that make your business you, that are going to help you spend more time on focusing those keywords and all that SEO, all that infrastructure building on the things that are going to matter and differentiate your business from a technical infrastructure perspective. Okay, that's SEO. And the SEM, it's a good thing you can't like kick me under the table, right? Like let's go, let's go, right? Okay, so SEM is search engine marketing, and that I know we talked about SEO when you're like trying to optimize for the Google bot with current content and make sure the people who come to your website stay a long time because they find content that's relevant. SEM is basically a paid ad. So it's not just ads, simple ads. There's lots of things you can be doing to drive traffic to your website. But the SEM, the search engine marketing, leverages information from your SEO. So the things that you're going to be advertising are the same keywords that are driving people to your site anyway under SEO. So it's not like it's a whole separate mindset. It's like, what do I do as a business that's interesting and provides value, and why are people coming to me and differentiate me? So that foundation of figuring out who your business is, why you matter, all of that important work works into these both of this, the SEM, marketing, how you advertise and drive more people, and SEO, how you help your website perform well by just providing the content that people are looking for and making it easily accessible to the Google bot.
Right.
So
Thank
there.
you.
Thank you so much, Betsy. And honestly, like, this is such a rich topic that we could do, you know, an entire sprint about it.
Right.
That's an idea, guys. That's an idea.
It is. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I have invited Tracy to join us on stage. Tracy has a question to follow up the walkthrough you gave, Petia, on Google My Business. So hi, Tracy. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me. And this is a great presentation. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So Petia, I have a question. I'm in the financial services space. I work from home and I do a lot of 401k rollovers from people that have either lost their job or maybe they've changed jobs, but they left their money in a 401k with their previous employer. And I do that from home over Zoom. So, and I don't want to use my home address. So how can I use Google to have people find me for doing 401k rollovers?
Absolutely. So the good news is that you don't have to expose your personal home address to anyone on Google, but you will have to use it to have a verified profile. And so what happens is that when you set up the profile, and I'm assuming that you service clients within a specific geographical area, right? Because were you always doing this on Zoom, or did you sometimes meet people at local coffee shops or wherever they were?
I sometimes met them elsewhere. I do have an office, but it's an hour away. So
Perfect. So
yeah.
You work primarily from home is what you're saying, right? Perfect.
That's correct.
So you will, when you go through the process, you do actually have to supply an actual physical address to Google,
Okay.
but you can then, there's a box, you can choose to hide that address from the public so that no one is coming to your house. We never want that, right? So that no one is actually, able to see your home location and coming to your house. And the reason that you need that is that in order to be considered a verified business, Google will send you a postcard with a code. So they want to make sure that this is a legitimate situation and they needed to send it to your place of business, which would be your home. And so you will have to enter that, but you can choose to hide it from the public, verify it once you have it. And then what's going to happen is that your location will be showed with a pin with a geographical reach, indicating that you service clients within a specific geographical area, but nobody will be able to figure out exactly what your address is.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so I can put my home address and then I can just check the box to hide it.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. I wasn't sure if I should do that or if I should use my physical office address.
Right. Well, the question for you is, how often are you in that physical office? If you're working primarily from your home, then I would say just use the home address.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you very much. Great information.
You're very welcome.
Thanks so much, Tracy. All right, everyone, we have a little over 10 minutes, and so we're going to try to get to all of your questions. Tracy, thank you so much. And up next, we have
Thank you
for the question. Steven, are you there? We just got a chat from you. There you go.
Hello. Hi,
Hi,
this is
Steven.
Steven. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Great. So basically, real quickly, I decided to start a second career as a photographer. I relocated from Bend, Oregon to the Delmarva Peninsula in late 2018 with the plan already that I was going to design, develop, and brand during 2019 for an early 2020 launch. And then the unforeseen pandemic hit us. And so I had to regroup. Took 2020 with my dog Otis, who's on the splash page of my landing. He's a West Island White Terrier. He'll be 14 in August. My sister Carrie and I In a past life, owned a graphic design and video production agency. So I know how to do all of that. So basically what I knew that I needed to get the stuff out organically, launched my site 2019 very organically. And then over 2020, did some of the SEO stuff, got the YouTube, because the other thing too, obviously YouTube is owned by Google, the parent company, and all of the SEO optimization that you do with Google can go right over to YouTube. And the audiences between the two are 4 billion people. So utilizing those kind of things. But what I'm looking for in particular is when you start getting into Google Analytics, in particular Google Tag Manager, it's a very robust and very complex application. And I'm looking for in particular a resource or an individual that I could reach out to and start working with creating some custom HTML tags so I can do everything on the back end of my website through Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager rather than having to upload and refresh the site all the time. So that's in particular what I'm looking for, but I just wanted to point out too how important I think YouTube and the audience is in utilizing, not just a generic card or a place card, I guess is what they call it, and a screenshot for when it comes up, and doing the correct optimization for the videos themselves, doing that stuff tying that. Then I have a link obviously on my webpage to my YouTube and all of the other social media platforms. But I think YouTube is underplayed in its optimization, and you can really do a lot of cool things to tie it in with Google.
Absolutely. And to echo your sentiment, YouTube actually has become the second largest search engine, right? So as a platform itself is actually used as a search engine, and of course it's owned by Google. And just a tip in terms of how to, no pun intended, maximize the exposure of your videos. The most searched for term on YouTube starts with how to. So people are actually going on YouTube looking for instructions on how to do things. So usually that's a best practice tip that we share in terms of how you can maximize and harness the power of YouTube. In regards to actually providing you with a resource, I would be more than happy to, if you wanted to connect with me personally. I do know people within my circle who do this work really heavily. And if that's what you're looking for, I'd be more than happy to connect you with them offline.
That would be great.
I can put my email address in the chat. And any of you who need help, please don't be shy. You can just send me an email. And if I myself can't help you personally, I definitely know somebody who can.
Well, thank you very much. And in closing too, one thing I think in the social media stuff that we've been talking about, giving, and earnestly, and having the type of transparency and being authentic, I think COVID really taught us a lot about that and what's important and what's not. And I think a lot of people are not just looking how to, but how to give back and how to give back to the community, and information that is engaging, not just in a visual standpoint, because obviously photography is very engaging, anything that has videos and interconnectivity, but give back. Like my video that I just posted yesterday is for Pollinators Week, June 21st through the 27th. Give back to causes and help the environment and the community in a way that's impactful, that doesn't have a direct result to you, but it does in the long run. It has to happen organically. So thank you again. I appreciate it very much.
You're very welcome, Stephen, and I'm looking forward to talking to you offline.
Thanks so much, Stephen. And Petia, I just want to say it is incredibly generous of you to provide your email address to everyone on the line. I think it is super awesome that you're willing to connect folks within your network that you trust. I mean, that is
right.
So wonderful. Thank you so much for that question. Laura, I want to invite you to join us on stage and tell us a little bit about another YouTube question.
Hi, ladies. First of all, I just want to say thank you. This has been very informative and very helpful today. So I appreciate you all taking the time. I am the owner of a boutique studio in Massachusetts, and I'm a personal trainer, Pilates instructor, and nutrition coach. What I'm finding a bit of a challenge for me right now is I do a lot of videos in general, because I post my workouts and things of that nature. I'm having a heck of a time understanding how to connect from my website to the, like, what's the best way to utilize that keyword? Like, how do I get that all to flow? These types of things have been and will be on my website. And a lot of the videos are already in YouTube, but I'm just trying to understand the best way to maximize that connection. So obviously I want people to find the site, but even if they see the videos on YouTube and vice versa, is there a way that I can kind of cross, like they'll find me either like both ways, like cover all my bases on either end? You know what I mean with keywords or?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I would say for starters, make sure that all of the videos are hosted on YouTube to begin with, right? Like that should be like your video hub. Then what you need to do is make sure that in the tags and the descriptions of the videos on YouTube, that you're using the trending keywords. And I would imagine within your space, there are lots of specific terms that people search for. You do Pilates, what kind of Pilates is it? That sort of thing. So make sure all of your videos, especially if there are differences between them, are described and tagged appropriately, right? So that is how you will be found on YouTube. Now, and then, of course, you would actually embed the videos in your website, right? That's how you're going to get them on the website. Right. However, when you upload your videos, and a lot of people don't pay attention to these functionalities, you have the option, you don't have to do this, but you have the option of adding end cards to your videos. It's something that a lot of people never see it or whatever. They're just like, yes, post whatever. And you can use those end cards to actually give additional directions or links to other places where your business exists. So that would be the way that you can drive traffic to the website or to the social media or to a specific playlist on YouTube that gives additional information about the last video that they saw.
Okay, understood. All right.
And then, you embed the videos everywhere else possible where you have an online presence.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. That was helpful. Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us, Laura.
Thank you.
I'll invite you to join us back in the audience. And we are at 2:27. And so
already
time flies when you're having fun. So just a couple of things. We have time for one last question from Darissa. If you had a question that wasn't answered today, there are a couple things we can do. First off, I want you to utilize the Business for All community on Hello Alice. Post your question in Business for All and see what your community has to say. Second, I want to remind you that the third and final week of our sprint is next week. And there are a couple of questions in here about paid search, smart campaigns, I think I saw as well. Our expert, Maria Elena Doron, is the expert on this topic. So save your questions for her on Monday when she posts. So all of those are a few things. What I want to do is make sure that Darissa gets a chance to ask her question. So let's wrap up with a strong discussion point. Darissa, are you there?
Hello, Darissa.
Hi there, I'm here. How are you guys? Lady.
We're doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. So I am new to, running my own website and making sure that the search engine optimization and everything is top notch. I have a GoDaddy site and they have a lot of Google integration embedded, so that helped out a lot. But my question is around the search engine piece of things. I've heard tell that if you have blog posts or if you have certain content on your website, that can help boost it, but it needs to be a certain minimum word count. So like blog posts that are like 1,800 words or more tend to get better traction on the search engine in terms of the optimizations. So I wanted to know if those types of things were true. And if so, could you also give additional benchmarks in terms of other things that we should use, like video over text? And if so, like what is like an ideal length, that kind of stuff? Thank you.
Absolutely. So what you've heard about blogging is absolutely true, right? In terms of word counts and things. However, and this is a conversation I have with my fellow marketers all of the time, right? I think as a small business owner, you have to decide resource-wise, do you have the bandwidth to produce 1,800 word blog posts the way you should, right? Like once a week or whatever? Or would it be just as effective to have a shorter blog post that contains great keywords or, you know, pictures with alt text, so you can kind of like, you know, you make the best utilization of your time, right? If you do have the ability to write those blog posts the best practice way, what it says they should be 1,800 words, by all means go about and do it. But I just know from working within the community that sometimes that can be a little bit of a challenge. So yes, that is true. Also having things like your meta tag descriptions. Are all of your meta descriptions on all of your pages written the way they should be? In terms of
the way
no more than about 160 characters. Every page should be described, right, individually. So your home page would say, you know, whatever the content is on your home page, your about page, whatever the content is, you know, all the pages of your website should have individual page descriptions, so that when someone does, with the keywords, of course, trending keywords in your category in them, so that when somebody does a search, remember, Google is looking for the content within the pages, not necessarily the website. And so when a search is done, if you have those meta descriptions on every page of the website, and they shouldn't be repeated, right? Every page should have its unique description. Then maybe all that needs to come up is your service 1, 2, 3 page, not the entire website, right? And that's a way for having, maximizing the use of that sort of thing. Also backlinks, right? So where else do you have a presence on the internet that's considered a credible source? All right. Have you guest blogged for somebody with a larger following who has amazing content and who already has a great SEO presence, right? I recommend this a lot for business owners that are just starting out and building brand awareness, right? Collaboration is key for us small business owners. We need each other. You have to form a community. So if you have a colleague who's not a competitor, of course, right, who already is, you know, a little farther ahead, who has great exposure, and you can contribute content to that person, it can also be reciprocal, right? And so having a link back to your website from that person's website is a great way also to push your SEO rankings. Links to your social media also can help you with that. Okay?
Is there a way to, yes, that's helpful. Is there a way to evaluate someone else's, like if I wanted to partner with someone, how would I evaluate their standing versus mine in terms of the optimization piece?
You would have to ask them to be honest and share their reports, their traffic reports with you. The data doesn't lie, right? Mm-hmm. That's the one great thing about data. It tells the truth always.
Okay.
Right? I mean, and if they're telling the truth, I don't see why they would have a problem sharing that.
Okay.
Great question, Darissa. Great question. Also, I'm going to offer you guys, if there weren't any questions that we didn't get to today, if you can go on the Sprint and find my post, I'm more than happy over the next week to answer additional questions related to the topics I presented today. So don't be shy. Just go ahead and do it. I get notifications. I have it set up. So it says you have an unread notification. So for the next week while the Sprint is going on, go find my post in the Sprint and just ask me a question like most of you have been doing during the week.
Petia, that's amazing. That is awesome. Thank you so much for your willingness to do that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's awesome. So
Julian, there's some people who are asking where they find this Sprint in the comments. So before we wrap up, and also Petia, they're asking for your email.
Okay, so I'll share it again. And yes, Jillian, if you can just share my Sprint post for me.
Absolutely.
That would be great. So send in my email again, petia.abdur@gmail.com.
So let's see here. The Sprint community for our Sprint right now is right here. Let me put it in the chat. Putting it in the chat right now. Here I go. Okay. All right. So it's in the chat. Really easy to remember. hialice.co/community. And let me put Petia's post directly right here. Give me just a second.
Thank you.
Okie doke. Here we go. Check your chat message in a little bit. Check the window. Okay, here is Petia. All right, awesome. So like Petia said, you can click on that link and you will go directly to her post, and she has generously offered to answer your questions next week. So thank you so much. I just want to say, if you all felt inspired and motivated and loved everything you had to hear during today's live video call, I want to share that we want, oops, I just sent you her email again. We want to hear from you and what you found valuable about today's phone call. And so please fill out the survey I just included in the chat, mixed amongst all the other links. And I just want to say before we wrap up, Petia, thank you so much for bringing your energy, your enthusiasm, your insights so much to this conversation. And Betsy, thank you for being Petia's awesome sidekick and really for bringing us all together for these conversations. And Danielle, thank you as well for getting everyone on stage that was able to join us. This has been an awesome discussion.